What are you doing right now? Sitting in front of the screen, thinking about the future. If there were a place where the moment you step off the plane, you're handed free residency, no red tape, no waiting, would you dare to leave America and start over? Sounds crazy, right? But the truth is, in 2025, there are countries out there opening their arms to Americans, with a cost of living just a fraction of what you're used to back home. Places where $1,500, $2,000 a month for two people is enough to live comfortably, whether it's by the blue sea, among majestic mountains, or in charming old European cities. And here's the best part, it's not just about money. It's about being able to breathe deeper, live slower, and feel respected and welcomed as part of the community. But here's where it gets exciting. Some countries are so famous everyone's heard of them, while others are hidden gems that you'll regret missing out on for the rest of your life. So, what's your guess? Which country could become the perfect second home for your retirement? Drop your guess in the comments, hit like so you don't miss out. And don't forget to subscribe, because today's list will surprise you all the way until the very end. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 5. Bulgaria, the hidden gem of Eastern Europe. Have you ever wondered when retirement comes? Would you rather wake up to the sound of ocean waves or the wind blowing through mountain ranges each morning? Bulgaria gives you both. Nestled between the majestic Balkan Mountains and the deep blue Black Sea, this small country feels like an old European painting, mysterious, yet inviting. And best of all, this is one of the few places where you can hold long-term residency with just a D visa and proof that you have a stable pension. No need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. No need to live there all year. Simply show your income and health insurance. And you can step into another world where costs are nearly half those in the US. If in the US, $2,500 a month is barely enough to cover rent, then in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, that amount can give you a very comfortable life. Imagine a spacious apartment right in the center for only around $600, $700, while two people spend just $60, $80 a week on fresh groceries from feta cheese and market vegetables to warm, freshly baked bread in the morning. A monthly bus pass is only $30. An internet that's twice as fast costs half the US price. That's right, in Bulgaria, a budget of $1,500, $2,000 per month for two people is not just enough, it's comfortable. But low prices have never been the only reason people fall in love with Bulgaria. They come here to slow down, to feel the heartbeat of a continent shaped by thousands of years of history. Strolling through Plovdiv, the second oldest city in Europe, you'll feel as if you've wandered into an open-air museum, where every stone and every wall tells stories of Rome, Byzantium, and the Ottomans. Sitting at a small street cafe, listening to traditional music, you'll feel that retirement is no longer an ending, but a new chapter of discovery. Healthcare in Bulgaria also brings peace of mind to foreigners. While public hospitals can be a bit slow, the private system is modern and won't make you break into a cold sweat like in the US. A private consultation costs only about $25, $30, medications are inexpensive, and many doctors speak English. With the public NHIF health insurance, you can access care nationwide, though many expats choose private insurance for speed and convenience. In other words, you still get proper health care without having to hand over your pension to hospital bills. And as for safety, this is one of the things that makes Bulgaria a peaceful haven. The rate of violent crime is extremely low, and the people are gentle, greeting you with a smile rather than a suspicious glance. Of course, as in any tourist country, you should stay alert for petty theft at markets and train stations, but that's a small matter. What's fascinating is that Bulgaria doesn't just offer landscapes and low costs, it gives you a life experience full of color. You can soak in the golden sunshine at Sunny Beach, climb the misty Rhodope Mountains the next day, and then spend the evening enjoying Bulgaria's world-famous rosé wine with new friends. The culture here is rich in Balkan spirit, springtime mask dances, vibrant music, and yogurt-based dishes that feel both new and comforting. Richard and Mary, a retired American couple from Florida, once struggled with mounting bills back home. They unexpectedly discovered Bulgaria, where the cost of living was only a fraction of the US. A two-bedroom apartment in Plovdiv for just $500 a month, fresh produce and local wine, unbelievably cheap, and private health insurance only around $400. year. At first, they planned to stay just 1 year, but soon fell in love with the rhythm of life here, sipping $1 coffee under ancient arches in the morning, strolling the market for Balkan cheese and wine in the afternoon, and watching the sunset over a 2,000-year-old Roman theater from their balcony at night. Richard once had to undergo knee replacement surgery. The procedure in Sofia was a success, costing less than 1/3 of what it would in the US. It was then he realized, here, we don't just live cheaper, we live more. After 5 years, they applied for permanent residency and decided Bulgaria is home. And what about you if you could trade a stressful life in America for peaceful afternoons under the Balkan sky? Would you take that step? But remember, every paradise has its small price. Bureaucratic procedures in Bulgaria can drive you crazy, plenty of paperwork in a language that isn't easy to navigate, and winters in the mountains can be brutally cold, with roads sometimes inconvenient. Yet if the trade-off is living at half the cost of America, waking up every day to a living canvas of old-world Europe, is that really too much to give up? So what do you think? If given the chance, would you choose a frugal but rich life in Bulgaria, where every day feels like a symphony of mountains, sea, and ancient culture? Leave a comment below. Hit like if you think Bulgaria deserves to be a retirement haven. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other countries, places where your retirement could turn into the most vibrant adventure of your life. 4. Montenegro, a hidden Mediterranean paradise few know about. If you've ever dreamed of spending your retirement between the sound of Mediterranean waves and towering mountains mirrored in emerald bays, Montenegro is the living postcard you've been waiting for. This tiny country of just over 620,000 people sits along the Adriatic coast, yet it holds landscapes that take your breath away from the Bay of Kotor, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with cobblestone streets and imposing fortress walls to the lively beaches of Budva or the snow-capped Durmitor Mountains in winter. And here's the surprise, this is one of the most affordable places to live in Europe. A 2-bedroom apartment in the capital, Podgorica, or along the coast, runs about $650, $800 month, while a smaller unit can go for under $350. Utilities, including electricity, water, and internet cost just $70, $100 month. Public transport passes are only $20 month. A casual restaurant meal is $10. And if you cook at home, 2 people can manage on around $200 month for groceries. All told, an American couple can live comfortably in Montenegro on $1,600, $1,900 month and still have enough left over to enjoy local wines or take trips along the Adriatic coast. When it comes to residency, Montenegro does not have a specific retirement visa. The most common path is through real estate purchase, typically between $110,000 and $220,000, which grants you a temporary residence permit, renewable annually. After 5 continuous years, you can apply for permanent residency. 5 more years make you eligible to apply for citizenship. For those wanting a faster route, there is a citizenship by investment program requiring around $380,000, $750,000, but most retirees opt for buying a modest apartment to both live in and secure legal status. Healthcare here is also relatively affordable. A doctor's visit costs about $25, while private health insurance is around $320 per year. However, advanced medical services are not yet highly developed, and many people still travel to Serbia or Croatia for major treatments. That said, for everyday healthcare needs, Montenegro is more than sufficient. What captivates many about Montenegro is not just the affordability, but also the safety. The U.S. State Department ranks Montenegro at level 1, the safest tier. Locals are friendly, and women walking alone at night rarely feel uneasy. Only during peak tourist season do you need to watch out for pickpockets in crowded spots. Montenegrins are known for their hospitality, with a culture that blends Balkan charm and Mediterranean flair. English is widely spoken in tourist areas, but if you pick up a few local phrases, you'll be welcomed, like family. Life here feels like it has 2 suns: mornings, sipping coffee by the sea, and afternoons just an hour's drive away, breathing fresh mountain air. Thanks to the Mediterranean climate, winters along the coast rarely dip below 0 degrees Celsius, so retirement isn't tied to freezing days. Add in a flat 9% personal income tax, and no heavy inheritance or property taxes, and Montenegro becomes a golden choice for stretching a pension. When David, a retired teacher from Florida, first set foot in Kotor Bay, he planned only a short vacation. But as he sat at a small seaside cafe, gazing at the crystal blue waters, embracing the ancient stone houses, he told his wife, "If there's anywhere time truly stops, it's here." So they bought a modest apartment in Budva for about $150,000. The residency process through property was not overly complicated. House papers, personal documents, and then yearly renewals. They did the math. Renting would have cost only around $600, $800 a month. Groceries from the local market just a few dozen dollars a week, and utilities under $100. Their total monthly expenses came to under $2,000 in exchange for clear skies, blue seas, and dinners filled with laughter and local Vernac wine. One time, David's wife had stomach pain and went to a clinic in Podgorica. The consultation cost only $25. The doctor was friendly and spoke enough English to explain clearly. From then on, David purchased additional private insurance for about $300 a year for peace of mind. Montenegro may be small, but it feels so safe that David often leaves the windows open all night, listening to the waves crash in the bay. He said, "In the US, I worried about bills and security. Here, I worry about which cafe has the better sunset view." Of course, challenges still exist. The language is difficult to learn, bureaucracy can be frustrating, and the small economy means limited high-end services. But if you're seeking a peaceful life, affordable costs, and majestic natural scenery that hasn't yet been crowded by tourists, Montenegro is the place to write a new chapter for your retirement. So what about you? If one morning you woke up to an endless blue sea with snowy mountains on the horizon, would you trade it all for a carefree retirement in this hidden paradise? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you think Montenegro is worth considering. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep exploring places where retirement can feel like a never-ending Mediterranean song. 3. Georgia, the land where guests arrive like angels. Have you ever imagined what it would be like if your retirement was filled with mornings overlooking the snow-capped Caucasus Mountains, afternoons at tables graced with 8,000-year-old wine, and evenings being welcomed into a family feast where you are treated as the guest of honor? In Georgia, they say, a guest is like an angel. And when you live here, you'll realize it's not just a saying, it's a way of life deeply rooted in their culture. The cost for two Americans to retire comfortably in Georgia is so low it makes many raise an eyebrow and ask, is this really possible? A tidy apartment in Tbilisi runs about $350, $500 per month. Utilities and internet add another $70, $90, and public transport is only $20 per month. As for food, it feels like stepping into a culinary paradise. Dining out costs just $5.10 a meal, while cooking at home for two comes to around $200 per month. Altogether, the average living expenses total only $1,200, $1,600 per month, far cheaper than any U.S. city. And here's the kicker, your retirement income remains intact, since Georgia does not tax foreign income. Residency is surprisingly open. U.S. citizens can stay up to 1 year without a visa. When it expires, a simple visa run adds another year. For something more stable, purchasing property worth over $100,000 grants you a 1-year residency permit, renewable with ease. For longer-term options, investing $300,000 in real estate or business earns a 5-year visa. And if you stick around for 6-10 years, permanent residency and even citizenship become possible so long as you're willing to pick up a little Georgian along the way. Healthcare in Georgia has advanced more than most people expect. A doctor's visit costs just $10.20. Medicine is cheap, and private hospitals in Tbilisi are modern enough to give you peace of mind, especially since many doctors here speak English. Public healthcare is free for legal residents, though it may feel basic rather than modern. But think about it, if you can enjoy affordable healthcare and still have money left to raise a glass of Kakheti wine every evening, isn't that a trade-off worth making? Georgia is also one of the safest countries you can choose. Violent crime is almost non-existent. And even late at night, The streets are lively, without feeling threatening. The only real danger? You'll likely be invited to drink far too much, since every supra feast is a true cultural celebration, complete with the aroma of fresh khachapuri, steaming hot khinkali, and the warmth of traditional folk songs. But Georgia, like any paradise, comes with its challenges. The language is tough, with its own unique alphabet, and in remote villages, you might not find a soul who understands English. Infrastructure can lag behind winding mountain roads, chilly winters in Tbilisi that dip low, forcing you to brace yourself. Yet isn't it those imperfect corners that make Georgia's picture feel all the more authentic? So here's the big question: would you dare to choose a place where your retirement income stays untouched, where locals treat you like an angel, and every new day feels like an invitation to raise a glass of ancient wine? If your heart stirred even a little just now, drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like to support the journey, and don't forget to subscribe so you can keep exploring the next pieces of the global retirement puzzle, where each country shines with its own unique color. 2. Colombia, the land of eternal spring. Have you ever dreamed of a place where time seems to pause, where there's no freezing winters or sweltering summers, only days that feel like April year-round? That's Medellin, Colombia, a city fondly known as the eternal spring. But here's the bigger question: if you could spend the rest of your life in a never-ending spring, would you take that leap? The cost of living here is enough to make many American retirees do a double take. A cozy apartment runs about $400, $600 per month. Food is abundant. Dining out costs just $5.07. And utilities plus internet rarely exceed $100. Public transport? Around $20 per month. Altogether, a couple can live comfortably on $1,500, $2,000 per month, enjoying good food, modern conveniences, and still having enough left over for trips to the Caribbean coast, the Amazon rainforest, or the lush coffee valleys. Colombia's retirement visa is also refreshingly accessible. You only need to prove a pension of about $970 per month to qualify. After 5 years of continuous residency, permanent residency is within reach, and if you commit longer, citizenship could follow. But here's the real reflection. What matters more, a new passport, or waking up every day to the gentle climate that nature itself designed as a gift? Colombia's healthcare system ranks among the best in Latin America. Public health insurance for 2 people costs only about $70.85 per month, while modern private care offers quality that can easily compete with Europe. Many foreigners choose to combine both affordable and reliable at the same time. And today's Colombia is far removed from its troubled past. Major cities and tourist destinations are now safe, violent crime has dropped dramatically, and in most cases you only need to stay alert for petty theft in crowded places. But can you believe that a country once viewed with suspicion by the world has now become a place where Americans dream of spending their retirement years? So what would you choose: to continue living through freezing winters in the US, or to step into a land where spring never ends? If Colombia sparks your curiosity, share your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this sounds appealing, and don't forget to subscribe to explore more destinations where retirement turns into the most beautiful journey of your life. 1. Dominican Republic, a Caribbean symphony for retirement. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this in the morning. You open your window and a salty sea breeze drifts in. Golden sunlight dances on crystal blue waves, and in the distance you hear bachata and merengue floating from a small roadside cafe. And you ask yourself, if you could spend the rest of your life living inside this endless Caribbean melody, would you dare to step beyond the familiar and try it? The Dominican Republic is the tropical piece of the puzzle that many Americans are now discovering for retirement. With $1,500, $2,500 per month for 2 people, you can enjoy a seaside apartment for $400, $800 per month, feast on fresh seafood for just $10, $15 a plate, and spend far less on transportation and shopping than you ever would back in the US. Think about it: with the same money that barely covers bills and medication in America, here you'd still have enough left over to stroll Punta Cana, watch sunsets over historic Santo Domingo, or host a little dinner party with your new neighbors. The government here makes it surprisingly easy for retirees. Simply prove a steady income of $1,500 per month, and you qualify for the retirement visa. If your income comes from investments instead, the rentista program requires about $2,000 per month. After a few years, the door to permanent residency opens, but here's the real question: what's worth more? A residency card or the fact that you're living a life most people only dream about? Public health care isn't the best, but private services give expats real peace of mind. English-speaking doctors, modern facilities, quick appointments, and private insurance for just a few $100s a year. Safety is a two-sided coin. Tourist zones and coastal expat areas are generally secure, but you still need to watch out for petty theft or small scams in crowded spots. What you can't ignore about the Dominican Republic is its vibrant culture. Festivals, music, dance, it all flows through the veins of the people here. They're warm, open, and always ready to invite you into a street party just because you happen to walk by. The bigger question is, are you ready to let your life blend into a culture that never sits still, always singing and always dancing? Of course, the Dominican Republic isn't perfect. Traffic can be chaotic, bureaucracy may drive you crazy, and once you venture into the countryside, English becomes rare, so a little Spanish goes a long way. But in return, you get an entire paradise: mountains, waterfalls, coconut groves, and the Caribbean Sea, all woven into a landscape you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. So, what about you? If one morning you could wake up in a place where the sun shines year-round, the ocean never stops singing, and life is measured in laughter and music, would you choose the Dominican Republic as the final song of your retirement? Drop a comment if you think this country is worth living in, and don't forget to hit subscribe to keep following this journey in search of retirement paradise around the world. Maybe at some point, each of us has to ask, how do I want the final years of my life to unfold? In a small apartment where expenses weigh heavily on your shoulders, or in a new land where the sunrise blazes over the sea, where wine shimmers in the laughter of friends, where people welcome you as if you've been family all along? The countries we've explored today are not just dots on a map. They are invitations inviting you to take a step, to live differently, to make retirement not just about waiting, but about beginning the most beautiful chapter of your life. So, where does your heart choose? Leave a comment, hit like if you too long for a new journey, and don't forget to subscribe so we can continue discovering new doors together, because who knows, one of them might just be your true home.